Yes guys, what's going on today? Welcome back to another drive with me. I think we're about 23, 24 in now maybe. So yeah, thank you for joining me. If you have been a previous watcher, thank you for coming back. I wanted to try a new mini series within the series sort of thing. It might end up going outside of drive with me in the end, which I kind of hope it does. And I wanted to call it, well, it's a bit of an idea from, I don't know if anyone's watched the James Lawrence Alcott Spotify podcast, but personally I love it. I think it's amazing. And he was actually a big inspiration for me doing this whole thing. But he did an episode a few weeks back, and he mentioned something about the three components of a bike and who's who. He had the wheels, the gears, and something else. I've had to change it because I can't remember what the third thing was. So I wanted to kind of do that sort of breakdown, but I wanted to do it, but I've made it more car relevant, of course. So I've done the keys, the clutch, and the wheels. Who's the keys and the clutch and the wheels? That's probably what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it keys, clutch, and wheels, not wheel. I thought about doing the steering wheel, but it's kind of similar to the keys, so that's why I was like, probably just leave it as it is. But it's one of those things that will probably get added to once I get further into the series and I think of more players and more roles, and yeah, we'll have fun with it. So I'm hoping to do an episode on the team basically as I go along. So I thought, I've got the most knowledge about Arsenal, why not start there? And it's actually trickier than you think when you try to break it down. So my definitions have been of these terms. So the clutch is the player who, when they're playing well, the team move through the gears. Literally, when they're on fire, the team's on fire, and you just basically win every game. And it gets the team playing well. I put the keys as who gets the team started, who keeps the team moving and ticking, and who gets them going basically. Who do they rely on to start most things? And then the wheels are the person who keeps them stable, who's basically always there to keep them on track. And if the wheels fall off, so if the player's not there, to how big the difference is that they make, do they go skidding along the motorway, or do they just stop dead? That's the sort of thing I've gone with the wheels. So wheels is more like a stability sort of one. I thought about other concepts I want to put in it potentially, like the spare tyre. Who's the spare tyre in the team? Who does the team turn to when shit hits the fan, basically? Yeah, there's a few that I was looking at. I was thinking who's the luxury item? Who's that luxury player in the team? Who's the air freshener? And then the brakes is obviously normally the manager who tells everyone to calm down. Yeah, I think like I said, I think I'll be adding stuff the more as I go along. Just got a bit of fun with it, really. So we'll start with Arsenal then, yeah? So who are the keys for Arsenal? So who gets us started? Who gets us ticking? And to be honest, I really struggled here, because of Arsenal, we're very much a systems-based team. So yeah, we're very much just a system-based team. So, let me move this down a bit. Sorry, guys. That should be better, maybe, hopefully. There we go. Yeah. So it means that they're all quite reliant on each other. I am sorry about this, guys. I'm trying to, keep it there. Well, I tried. You might just have to listen to this part. Yeah. Because we're so positional, it means that everyone's quite reliant on each other. So it's hard to say who actually gets us going. The way I looked at it was, I've gone for Martin Odegaard. The reason I've gone for Odegaard is because in my head I've gone, right, who gets us going in the first place and who gets us ticking? Odegaard definitely is the one that keeps us ticking over. He's the one that normally starts the attacks in terms of he'll lead our press. He's the most he's not actually statistically the most creative player because that's Bukayo Saka now, but he's the most creative influence I feel like on the team. Like, he sees pictures that other people just don't see. And a key thing for me, a key thing for me this season, watching it and watching him, is that he's obviously not been on form this season. He's been out of form, and our attacks have suffered for it. So the starting of the attacks just hasn't got going. So in my mind I was like, well, if the key's malfunctioning, the car's never going to get going. So Odegaard's malfunctioning means that Arsenal haven't been able to get going at all, you know. So I think that's why I've gone with Odegaard for my key. I think it's quite accurate, I'd say. The wheels was a bit of a struggle for me, so I'm going to come back to that. I think the clutch was probably the easiest one out of all three of them, and it's Bukayo Saka. Like, when Bukayo Saka's playing well, we win basically every game. When Bukayo Saka struggles, is when we struggle. So I look back at the Porto Champions League game last year. Saka can sometimes struggle against a physical left back, which is why I'm a little bit worried when we come up against Real Madrid and potentially PSG with Nuno Mendes for PSG and is it Mendy still playing for Madrid at left back? I think he still is. I think he's still fit. Well, obviously two physical and fast players. So not necessarily the pace that worries me, it's the physicality. I think sometimes struggle against. But my point is, we struggled against Porto last season, and Saka struggled. So therefore, we couldn't get out of gear one. But when Saka was playing well at the start of this season and we were flying, like, he was going to break. I think he was going to break the assist record for this season. He was absolutely flying for the assists. I think he was on like 9 in 9 games, something stupid like that. So yeah, Saka's definitely the clutch, and hopefully we have him back soon, because our attackers really suffered by not having him in there. You know, we haven't been able to get up through the gears like we were previously, and there's no substitute for him. That's the main thing. Ranieri's been good, but no, Ranieri doesn't get us past gear 3. And that's not his fault. He's a different sort of player. And the other thing I thought with Saka was that one of the reasons we're so reliant on him is because I think so many of our attacks come down that right hand side, and that hasn't changed. So when we played on the weekend, when we played, my mind's absolutely blank. When we played against Chelsea, sorry, and Martinelli was the right winger. We still had 2/3 of our attacks coming down his wing on that right hand side. So clearly we just like attacking down the right hand side, and we're so used to it because Saka's normally there, and we need him to basically get us goals. So yeah, Saka's the clutch. Lastly then, I had the wheels. Now, it's quite tricky to have the wheels in there. Like, you could go Declan Rice, you could go Timber probably has a shout in there. Raya definitely deserves a mention. Who else have we got that you could say potentially wheels? Partey, he's been crucial this season, but I've gone for William Saliba. I think he is in our top players, like top 3 players, and the way I came across Saliba in my mind was when he wasn't fit 2 seasons ago and he got injured in our title race, the wheels literally fell off. Like, everything was just kamikaze and it all hit the wall. I think if we were to lose Saliba in the summer to Real Madrid, which is one of the rumours, it would be a huge ask to replace him. You know, you're having to replace 4 wheels in my example here. That's probably what I should have mentioned as well. Like, if you're losing this player, it's gonna. What the hell is this guy doing behind me? Yeah. Like, it's a massive player for us, and we do rely on him a lot. He almost plays like Van Dijk for us, in terms of we just leave him on his own sometimes and he still manages to hold it down for us. So yeah, I think Saliba's definitely come across as our wheels. A couple of little bits and bobs that I thought about. I don't know what this guy's doing, but he's speeding past. I put spare tyre. It's got to be either Gabriel or Trossard. Like, when all else fails, Gabriel from a set piece, or potentially Trossard when we have a fully fit squad, comes off the bench most of the games and can grab a goal when we need it. In the past, I would have looked at like Eddie Nketiah as potentially being that spare tyre. A couple little nuances I thought. Could have done like who was the petrol and stuff. You know, I'll figure it out eventually. My hope is eventually, once I've gone through all the Premier League teams, I want to first of all go abroad and look at other teams, like other major teams that people would actually want to discuss, and I want to look at past teams. So I want to go into like Premier League teams of the old and find and look at, like, delve into who was actually played when they played well, who was the stars basically, who was the one that was always there for them. So yeah, I'm gonna try and do that. I think I'll try to keep it fresh, and I won't do too many at once, so we keep it a bit more fresh, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. If it gets boring after a few episodes, obviously we'll end it there, but I think it's quite an interesting series, and I want to obviously mention James Lawrence Alcott. He obviously has many more subscribers than me, so I don't really need to give him that much of a shout out. But this was his concept that I heard, and I just thought it was a really fun concept to try and do. He probably doesn't have the time to do a whole series on it, so yeah, thought I'd give it a try. Anyway, thank you guys for coming along today, and I will speak to you in the next one. Peace.